everyone, my name is Cress, and today I will be doing the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. The AuthorTube Newbie Tag is for people who are new to AuthorTube, and they have questions talking about what do you write, how do you write, what content can you expect from the channel. So I decided to give you all a little bit of an introduction about who I am. Why don't I do the AuthorTube Newbie Tag? So here we are. Let's start. How did you find out about AuthorTube? I found out about AuthorTube from a friend who generally sends me pictures of ships. Now this was a few months back when I was still struggling with showing versus telling, but this video really helped me out. It was a video of advice that she linked to me. So I watched it and it talked a lot about showing versus telling, but it also talked a lot about AuthorTube. Here we are. I decided, okay, I want to do my research on this. I want to be a part of AuthorTube. So after a few solid months of researching, things I want to do in videos, tying up my second draft of my novel that I'm working on right now, I decided, okay, I have a little bit of time on my hands considering that we're in quarantine. I'll start an AuthorTube channel. There is no harm in it. So, yeah, here we are. The next question is, what genres do you write in? When I say that I'm all over the place, I actually mean that I am all over the place. I one day started writing fantasy. That fantasy turned into a sci-fi the next day. Now, fantasy turns to sci-fi, sci-fi turns to urban fantasy, high fantasy turns to dark fantasy. I write all different sorts of fantasy. I write dystopian sometimes. Dystopian honestly freaks me out, but do I still write it? Yes. I don't know why I still write it, but I do. But then one day something changed. I got an idea for a story idea that was like nothing I'd ever written before. It is crime fiction romance, and I am absolutely drop dead obsessed with it, and I cannot seem to let it go. I am working on the third draft of it as we speak. So I'm very, very, very in love with this draft. I don't know if I'll continue to write this crime fiction genre that I'm dabbling around with, because I really do like fantasy. You can sort of craft your own world and make it whatever you want. But particularly, I think that I really like what I found, this world of assassins and thieves and killers and murderers. Those are like all synonyms, but I really like all that stuff. It makes you wonder, what goes on behind the curtains? So that's what I decided to write about. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? As for writing tense, I cannot do present tense. Honestly, who writes in future tense? And that leaves past tense. Writing in past tense just gives me like a sense of comfort, even though all of my prologues are in present tense, and I have to go back and change them. I don't know why my brain is like this, but the entire story itself will be in past tense, but the actual beginning of the story is in future tense and present tense, and I don't know what I'm actually doing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing for those first few chapters, and I'm like, wait, I've been using present tense. Oh gosh, I used future tense here. What am I doing? So I'm like, wait a second. But as for point of view, I use third person. First person I use sometimes, but it honestly just annoys me to know and to write and read. It has to be like a really good book for me to want to read a first person story. But most first-person stories that I've read so far are pretty good, but there's some of them that just drive me up the wall and make me want to slam my head against a wall of bricks. Some of them are just really annoying. But as for writing in first person, if I want to share more of the character's perspective, say if I'm writing in a writing competition where character arcs are really, really important, then I will definitely write in first person because they want to see that character arc. They want to see my character grow and expand with the story that I'm trying to send into them. So as for category, I write YA. I'm a teen writer and I write for teens. So I categorize myself as a YA writer because it's too violent to be middle grade, and it isn't violent enough or has enough scenes in it to be considered an adult novel. So, are you a plotter, pantser, or a plantser? We don't do English here. Are you a plotter, pantser, or plantser? Now, I consider myself a full-blown pantser. Other than the occasional note that I write down in my iPhone, I honestly don't do anything that includes outlining. Like, if I get an idea, I'll type it out, but I like to have that rush of adrenaline while I'm writing. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm so excited. It makes me so excited to write it all and not know where it's going to wind up. And it makes me think, if I can become this excited from writing it, what makes me think that my readers won't become excited from reading it? So I think that if I can become excited while writing it, my readers can become equally excited while reading it, which is why I think discovery writing is really good for me, because it gives me that final push to be able to finish writing, finish what I need to do, and do everything that I love in the writing community. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I'm yet to be published. There are some authors that don't want to be published, or writers that are not interested in being published. I'm one of the people who wants to be published. It is my dream. It is what I'm going to keep grasping for until I get there, and I'm not going to stop until I do get there. I have a drive and a passion within me that makes me want it so badly that I'm not going to stop my hard work until I actually wind up getting it. What publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you thinking of being represented by or using? If you are not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? As for publishing houses, anything in the big five would honestly just make me jump in excitedness, and probably more than that. I would freak out if I got published by any of the big five. It's like another dream of mine that I would love. But if I don't wind up being published by the big five, I can live with that. It's totally fine. I don't need to start off huge at the beginning, but if I could, that would be fantastic. If I can start off small and build my way up, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As for literary agents, I have done my research. I have a Google Doc of the ones that I might want to use, but I don't really think that I will be able to know precisely until I actually speak to them and know, okay, they really care about writing, they really care about my writing, they think that I can do good off of my book, and they really care about me as a client myself. Therefore, I'm not going to choose a literary agent that just turns their nose up and doesn't care about what I do. It only wants me for the money. I want someone who actually believes in my success and wants to believe in my book and my story, all of that. So, what AuthorTube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? As I was saying, I am a teen writer that writes for teens. I know all of the struggles. I know balancing writing, homework, social life, school, all that. That's difficult. It's definitely difficult in my perspective specifically because I'm doing all of these different activities. I play volleyball, I do choir, I do a lot of different things. But primarily, I have to focus on my dream, and that's writing. So, if I want to be able to be a writer, I need to learn how to balance everything. So I want to be able to share how I balance things. I want to do writing vlogs, I want to do writing technique tryouts, if that makes any sense at all. I would like to do Pomodoro. You might be able to find the occasional writing sprint here. I don't really know how often I'll be doing those, but I think it would be fun to give it a go and kind of like talk with all of you while I do writing sprints, so why not? What was the first story you ever wrote? So this was actually 3 years ago, and I was doing a short story for a project about communication in class. It was these people who spoke different languages and got into a war because they didn't really understand what each other was saying. There were people dancing in the clouds. I honestly don't know what I was thinking, but, I mean, I was pretty proud of it. It's 8,000 words, so for my first story, that's honestly not that bad. It is a short story, definitely not like novel length, but it's very important to me, and it lets me know, okay, I got that kickoff, I worked on it really hard, and I loved it. I loved doing it, and it was absolutely amazing. I lived for it. Next is, when did you start writing? I started writing 3 years ago, obviously, because that's when I wrote that story. It was really, really interesting to me, and I absolutely lost my mind over it. I was like, okay, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep trying for it. I want to keep striving for it. I want to keep going. It is that simple. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find the time? On weekends, I have stayed up writing until 5 a.m., 6 a.m., I've written for 24 hours straight once. I've written for 12 hours straight multiple times. I've written for 6 hours straight more than multiple times. I binge write. I literally binge write. It doesn't really matter how I find the time. I don't have a writing routine. I just write, because writing, you don't need to schedule your adventure when you're discovery writing. You just need to be able to go after that adventure. It's like a quest that you need to complete, and I think, okay, why not start that quest now? Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? So, I type on a computer. I'm actually recording on that computer. I always use keyboards. My handwriting looks like a monstrosity. I write worse than most doctors. Trust me, I've seen their handwriting. And I mean, I don't own a typewriter, but I think that the idea of typing on a typewriter would be really exciting, or like a typewriter style keyboard, but those cost $400. Yay. Where do I write in general? Right here. I have my bookshelf right there. This is a desk. I have a few little trinkets around there and a ton of notebooks that I never use because, once again, my handwriting is awful. What are you most looking forward to now that you are a part of AuthorTube? Now, I do want to become more introduced into the community. I want to learn so much more about the community, and I just want to learn. I want to learn the ins and outs of writing even more than I already have. I want to be able to spread my work, and I want to be able to talk about my work to people who will care and listen and really be interested in it. So that's why I decided to start AuthorTube. That's why I'm excited to do AuthorTube, and I hope I can do all of those things in my time here. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you around here soon. I'm Cress.